Every day we come into Poland and they send us back.
They threaten us by their gun. There was a time they released a bullet. We're scared. We don't want them to shoot us.
They're playing us like a football. The Belarus will beat us, push us to Poland. The Poland will catch us, beat us, push us back to Belarus.
Poland's leader warned on Sunday that the migrant crisis on its border with Belarus could be a prelude to something worse.
Poland deploys thousands of troops as the border crisis with Belarus deepens.
Today, the volatile situation at the border went to the next level. Polish riot police fired tear gas and unleashed water cannon on migrants after they were pelted with stones.
Prime Minister Tusk's defiance echoes nationalist waves, just like President Trump's crackdown on illegal migrants in the United States.
For decades, Poland was a country people left. Millions of Poles spread across Europe and the world seeking better opportunities. But in a stunning reversal, Poland has quietly become one of Europe's top destinations for immigrants. So what is the truth? Is Poland slamming its doors shut in a war on immigration, or is it navigating a complex new reality?
We will not accept any coercive mechanism, and I assure you that Poland will not accept illegal migrants under such a mechanism.
Today we're going deep into the heart of this paradox, exploring the security fears, the economic needs, and the identity crisis shaping the future of a nation. This is the story of why Poland's relationship with immigration is one of the most complicated and contradictory in the world.
I asked to call my wife. No. They refused to give at least one single minute call.
They take us at night, around sometimes 8 o'clock, sometimes 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock. They monitor the Polish police across the border. They tell us this way, there's no Polish police. So they will tell us we must cross those wires. So we crawl under, and then while we go inside, maybe if the Polish police happens to see you, they will take you back.
In late 2024, the new government of Prime Minister Donald Tusk, a figure often seen as a mainstream European centrist, unveiled a migration strategy with a title that leaves little to the imagination: Regain Control, Ensure Security. This wasn't just rhetoric, it was a package of some of the toughest migration and asylum rules in the European Union. The most explosive measure is a new law that gives the Polish government the power to temporarily suspend the right to claim asylum along specific parts of its border. This is a direct response to the crisis on its border with Belarus, a situation we'll break down in a moment. But in essence, it means Poland can legally refuse to even hear an asylum application if it declares a state of heightened migration pressure. This move has been flagged by legal experts as a potential violation of both international law and Poland's own constitution. But the crackdown doesn't stop there. The government has also tightened the rules for student visas, responding to claims the system was being abused as a backdoor to the Schengen area. They've given local authorities the power to create lists of professions where work permits cannot be issued to foreigners, effectively blocking certain types of economic migration at a local level. Fines for employing undocumented workers have been massively increased, putting more pressure on businesses. And on the European stage, Poland has been defiant. It joined Hungary in voting against the EU's new pact on migration and asylum, a bloc-wide attempt to share the responsibility of processing and hosting asylum seekers. Prime Minister Tusk has been unequivocal, stating Poland will not be forced to accept relocated migrants from other EU countries under the pact's solidarity mechanism. When you put it all together, the picture looks clear. Poland is building a fortress, but the question is, why? To understand Poland's hardline stance, you have to understand this place, the 400-kilometer border between Poland and Belarus. Since 2021, this border has been the front line of what Poland and the EU call a hybrid war. The government accuses the Belarusian regime, backed by Russia, of orchestrating a crisis by luring thousands of migrants from the Middle East, Asia, and Africa to Minsk with the false promise of easy entry into the EU. These individuals are then allegedly funneled to the border and forced to cross into Poland, a tactic the government terms the instrumentalization of migrants designed to destabilize Poland and the entire European Union. This crisis has fundamentally shifted the conversation in Poland. Migration is no longer just an economic or social issue. It has been securitized. The images of chaotic scenes at the border and the narrative of a hostile state using human beings as weapons have hardened public attitudes. while Poles have shown incredible solidarity with Ukrainian refugees. A 2025 poll found that a staggering 75% of Poles are against accepting migrants in general, a sentiment largely driven by the border situation. Another poll showed that only 14% of Poles would welcome migrants from all over the world, with much higher sympathy reserved for culturally similar Ukrainians and Belarusians. This public anxiety is political gold. The previous National Conservative government, Law and Justice, rose to power in 2015, partly on the back of fierce anti-immigrant rhetoric during the European migrant crisis. They built the border wall and used the issue to rally their base. Now, Donald Tusk's new government is playing the same game, but with a twist. He's using this tough on security stance to attack PiS, accusing them of hypocrisy. Tusk points to a cash for visas scandal under the previous government, arguing that while PiS was talking tough, their lax and allegedly corrupt system made them, in his words, the most pro-illegal migration government in Europe. In effect, both major political forces are now competing to see who can be tougher on irregular migration, creating a political climate where a hardline approach is the only viable option. But here is where the story gets truly complicated. While this political war on illegal immigration rages, Poland has been undergoing an unprecedented and largely unacknowledged immigration boom. For 7 consecutive years, under the supposedly anti-immigrant PiS government, Poland issued more first residence permits to immigrants from outside the EU than any other country in the bloc. More than Germany, more than Spain, more than France. By the start of 2024, there were over 1.1 million foreigners officially registered in Poland's social insurance system, making up nearly 7% of all contributors. And that's just the official number. The real figure, including unregistered workers, is likely much higher. What's driving this? 2 words: economic necessity. Poland's economy has been one of the star performers in the EU, growing an astonishing 12 times larger than it was at the end of communism. But at the same time, its population is aging and shrinking. This has created a massive labour shortage. Polish companies are desperate for workers, from construction sites and factories to IT hubs and the service sector. This has created a dangerous disconnect between the political rhetoric and the economic reality. Politicians win votes by talking about security and closing borders, but the economy would grind to a halt without the very immigrants they publicly condemn. This paradox leads to a policy that can only be described as selective and, at times, hypocritical. In modern Poland, not all immigrants are created equal. The country's approach reveals a stark hierarchy of desirability, a tale of 2 very different immigrant experiences. First, there are the Ukrainians. When Russia launched its full-scale invasion in 2022, Poland opened its arms and its homes in an extraordinary display of solidarity. Millions of refugees, mostly women and children, crossed the border. They were met not with hostility, but with help. This welcome was rooted in geographical proximity, cultural and linguistic similarities, and a shared history of Russian aggression. For a time, Poland's population swelled by millions, and the society absorbed them with remarkable grace, while the welcome is now becoming more strained. As the war drags on and the government looks to tighten rules on social benefits, the fundamental acceptance of Ukrainians remains. Then there are the migrants at the Belarusian border. These individuals, primarily from the Middle East and Africa, are framed in an entirely different light. They are not seen as desperate refugees, but as illegal aggressors, tools of a hostile state and a threat to national security. Their treatment is harsh, involving pushbacks and a denial of the right to seek asylum. And finally, there's the third group, the quiet economic migrants. While the political focus is on Ukrainians and the Belarus border, hundreds of thousands of workers from countries like India, Nepal, Georgia, and the Philippines have been arriving to fill those crucial labour gaps. They are often the invisible engine of Poland's economic growth, accepted out of necessity, but rarely mentioned in the heated public debate. This selective approach reveals the core of Poland's strategy. It's not a war on all immigration, it's a war on uncontrolled and culturally different immigration, while a pragmatic, if reluctant, acceptance of necessary labour continues behind the scenes. So what does this all mean for the soul of the country? The slogan, Poland for the Poles, isn't just a fringe chant, it taps into a deep-seated part of the national identity. The very name Poland, or Polska in Polish, derives from the ancient Poland tribe, the people of the fields. For centuries, and especially after the devastation and border shifts of World War II, Poland has been one of Europe's most ethnically and religiously homogeneous nations. This rapid, almost overnight transformation into a multi-ethnic, multicultural society is a shock to the system. The country is grappling with questions it has never had to face on this scale before. What does it mean to be Polish in the 21st century? Can a nation built on a singular identity adapt to a pluralistic future? The war on immigration is, therefore, more than just policy. It's a symptom of this profound identity crisis. It's the sound of a country caught between two irresistible forces: the demographic and economic reality that demands it open up to the world, and a deep-seated historical and political instinct to protect a homogeneous identity it feels is under threat. So, is Poland declaring war on immigration? The answer is no. It's something far more complex. Poland is waging a highly targeted, securitized campaign against specific types of migration it deems threatening, while simultaneously relying on other forms of migration to survive and prosper. The real war is not against immigrants, but within Poland itself. It's a battle between its past and its future, between its economic needs and its security fears, between its tradition of homogeneity and the undeniable reality of its new, multicultural identity. How Poland resolves this internal conflict will not only define its own future, but will also be a crucial test for a Europe that continues to wrestle with the very same questions.